evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, protests, condemnation trail INEC's choice of PDP candidates in the Ondo governorship election. Sheriff faction applauds electoral umpire's decision. Commissioner of Police in Lagos talks tough, warns against attacks on security personnel by members of the public. Court declines an application seeking an order against the arrest of 5 of the 8 judges whose houses were recently raided by DSS operatives. And United Nations accuses Islamic State militants of using thousands of Iraqi civilians as human shield as troops advance towards the city of Mosul.
And in business news tonight, FBN Quest asks investors to avoid Tier 2 commercial banks due to their record loan loss provisions.
On sports news tonight, Algeria appoints George Lekens as their national coach ahead of next month's 2018 World Cup qualifier against Nigeria.
And from Abuja, I am Ibrahim Adra. Troops of the Operation Delta Safe arrest 44 suspected IPOB members, allegedly for setting up a cell in Bayelsa State.
We begin tonight in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, where some residents of Akure today took to the streets to protest the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission recognizing Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim as the People's Democratic Party candidate for the upcoming governorship election in the state. The electoral umpire published the list of candidates on its website yesterday, barely 1 month to the polls. In that list, Mr. Ibrahim was listed as the candidate of the PDP against Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, who emerged candidate of the party's primary. The two factions led by Senator Ahmed Makarfi and that of Senator Ali Modu Sharif have been embroiled in legal battles, asking INEC to recognize their candidates.
A crisis appears to be brewing in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Irate youths take to the streets to protest against INEC's decision to choose Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim as the PDP governorship candidate in the November poll. Roadblocks surmounted and vehicle tires set on fire. They marched to INEC's office demanding that the electoral umpire rescinds its decision in favor of the Ahmed Makarfi faction's candidate, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede.
The rightful man has been changed and we are not going to take it. That the person we want here is Eyitayo Jegede is the rightful candidate for PDP.
Security operatives are on hand to prevent a breakdown of law and order. The vice chairman of the Sheriff faction, Mr. Alabi Johnson, explains the commission's decision is backed by law.
The judgment that was issued in favor of Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim does not have Jegede as a party. So Jegede is not a party to the suit. I don't see any reason or any means through which Jegede will go and appeal the judgment. We want to declare.
But the chairman of the Makarfi faction, Clement Faboyede, disagrees.
Eyitayo Jegede remains the flag bearer of a PDP. It is not the duty of any court whatsoever to impose or to dictate candidate for a party. It is a pre-election matters, and Supreme Court, which is the highest organ of judiciary in this land, severally accepted that pre-election matters is not that matters of the court.
The attention of the federal government has also been drawn to the matter. Governor Olusegun Mimiko visits the presidential villa in Abuja to seek the federal government's intervention.
So we see this action of INEC as potentially dangerous. It can cause conflagration in the state And that is why, as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I've come to alert Mr. President of the potential danger of this injustice so that we can nip it at the bud.
In the meantime, INEC's resident electoral commissioner explains how the electoral body arrived at its decision.
We got an order from Ondo State High Court, which immediately emailed to our chairman at Abuja that night, and he got it before he closed in the office. And the commission took it as with the hope that he will meet yesterday morning to deliberate. Only for us again yesterday to see another judgment from another court in Abuja.
With just about a month to the governorship poll, it is imperative that law and order are maintained while political parties ensure their supporters seek legal measures to address their grievances.
While the fate of the People's Democratic Party in the Ondo poll remains uncertain, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has fixed November 1st for hearing in a suit to determine the authentic chairman of the PDP. The suit was filed by factional chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Ahmed Makarfi, and a chieftain of the party, Mr. Ben Obi, against the Senator Ali Modushari faction of the PDP.
The battle over who is the rightful candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the November 26 governorship election in Ondo State may have just begun as the Senator Ahmed Makarfi-led faction of the party approached the Court of Appeal to seek the leave of the court to appeal the judgment of a federal high court which recognized Senator Ali Modushari as the national chairman of the party. Lawyer to Senator Makarfi argued that the recognition of Senator Sharif as the chairman of the party has caused the Independent National Electoral Commission to substitute its candidate, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, as the candidate of the party in the Ondo State governorship election. This application was, however, opposed by the lawyer to Senator Ali Modushari, as he insisted that the applicant was never a party in the original suit before the Federal High Court. Dr. Izinya's position is supported by the lawyer representing the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Olagweke Fakule. After listening to the argument of the parties, Justice Sankey adjourned hearing of the suit to the 1st of November. Lawyer to the Senator Makarfi-led faction of the PDP restated the need for his client to join the suit as an interested party.
Basically, in the two matters, the first one, you will recall that one filed by Halaji Ahmed Makarfi was asking for leave of the court for himself and Senator Ben Obi to appeal as interested parties in the application. Arguments were taken and ruling has been reserved as to whether or not they should be allowed to appeal as interested parties. Similarly, in the other one of Eyitayo Jegede SCN, it is to the same effect, which is that Eyitayo Jegede SCN is praying the call for leave to appeal as an interested party.
But lawyer to Senator Ali Modushari insisted that the application is unnecessary.
We are opposing that application as an interested party to appeal. So we'll keep our gunpowder dry until we get there. And we're given time to react to that application. And that's why the adjournment has come up.
After listening to all the parties, Justice Sankey adjourned hearing in the suit between Mr. Eyitayo Jegede and the state executive of the party to the 1st of November, while judgment in the other appeals was reserved to a date to be communicated to the parties.
Joining me now to discuss the political situation in Ondo State is consultant and lecturer of political science at the University of Lagos, Dr. Godwin Okeke. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Thanks for inviting me.
Looking at the reports we had earlier about the protests in Ondo State and the reaction of the protesters, what do you make of INEC's decision?
I think INEC is playing a role that is very, very suspicious, in the sense that from information available, they sent a representative, which is the requirement of the law, to the Makarfi faction of the primary, which was not the case in the case of Jimo. only for them now to, turn around to recognize the Jimo faction, if they have fulfilled the condition of the law. And I think, before that, I think there's also the need to point at the several cases involved in this matter, because of the fact that, for instance, there have been finger pointing on the side of APC trying to destroy opposition. There's also the point that the PDP in itself has shot itself in the leg, because there's a precedent that was set during Obasanjo administration when something like this happened, when Abdul Kader was used to destroy AD in the southwest, which gave rise to Ashwaji Tinubu being called one man standing, the last man standing, and all that. So if you look at what INEC has done in this matter, right from the time Jega resigned, they have taken some decisions that are quite suspicious, that have led them, the people thinking that they are no longer the unbiased umpire that they are supposed to be.
Both factions, both the Makarfi faction and the Ali Modu Sharif faction, both want their own candidates recognized, but only one name has to be on that ballot box when people go to the polls next month. How do you see this playing out in the end?
I don't think PDP should be so much disturbed, because the emphasis is on the party, not the candidate. But what they should have to do is to support their party to win the election, and now concentrate on a long, drawn-out battle, which probably will take them to the Supreme Court to determine who actually, the president will eventually, be removed by the court process.
Yeah. But what effect would the slated hearing of the case between Makarfi and Sharif have on this situation?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
What effect would the slated hearing between the two factions, what effect will it have on the situation?
It will create the impression that there is instability in the party, and most of the supporters will have a divided opinion on which side, whether Jimo faction or Jegede faction will eventually emerge. But I think there's proper need for the party to educate their members that there's no need for all these wranglings. At the end of the day, the true candidate that will represent the party will emerge.
It's just a month to the election, and already you have tension in those states over, who is the choice candidates for a particular party. What can INEC do to douse this tension?
Well, INEC pretends to be obeying the court order, but they know what they're doing. At the end of the day, I don't think there's much they can do at this time, only to wait for the appeal. And it's the person that the Court of Appeal decides is the winner of the primaries that will eventually emerge. But at the end of the day, I think what the PDP should do is to keep calm, support their members, and encourage them to go out en masse and win the election. The party is, according to the electoral law, is not the candidate. At the end of the day, it is the party that is sponsoring the candidate. And, even if it drives up to the Supreme Court, the justice will be done at the end of the day.
But could this have any impact on the PDP's performance at the polls?
APC also has its own crisis in those states, and I don't know how they are going to resolve that. But we're focusing on PDP. So I think what the PDP should do is to catch in on the situation on ground in the APC, and then call their members together and go out and win the election.
Dr. Godwin Okeke, thank you so much for joining us on
Thanks
the news.
Thanks for inviting me.
In part two, after the break, troops of the Operation Delta Safe arrest 44 suspected IPOB members for allegedly setting up a cell in Bayelsa State. Do join us again.